Well, here I am. I'm back with my first live stream in a long time, like in a bunch of months. Like I don't know how much time has passed since my last live stream, but alas, here I am because this channel's been pretty inactive this past 6 months maybe. And I decided that it's not cool, it's not fair, and well, I kind of miss these, kind of miss live streams, kind of miss interacting with you people, even though my last live streams didn't have as many views, but like, sometimes it doesn't hurt to live stream every once in a while. And there's like a lot of stuff I'd like to talk about, and I should probably bring you up to speed on what's been going on and like give you a channel update. So here I am. I see Gareth Anderson, Lego videos and more is in the chat. Says hi, I subscribed. Remember me. See, there's a lot of people asking remember me, and I've never seen your username before, but if you used to be Peter Studios, did you used to be Peter Studios? Because I remember Peter Studios, but if you're an entirely different person, then no, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. No, I've never seen. I don't think I've seen your username before. But welcome to the stream. Nevertheless, it's great to see. It's always great to see people in the chat and welcome. So yeah, if you have any questions, any topic you'd like me to talk about specifically, then by all means, you can ask me anything in the chat. That's kind of what I'm here for, to interact with you, with the viewers, the people watching. So by all means, Gareth Anderson says you have. So so you weren't you weren't Peter Studios before, okay? Have you okay, yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, I that's it. I'm sorry, I just don't remember you. It's nothing personal, really. It's just that it's been a while, I guess. Maybe you haven't been to too many of my streams for me to remember you. What is that you're trying to send? That's a link to something. I'm almost scared to click at it. Should I'm kind of scared. I don't want to click that on. I don't really want to click that link. You've got a pretty innocent username, but I don't want to fall for a trap here. Can you tell me what it is? And no, that's, you see, because even if you tell me what it is, how do I know you're not setting me a trap? Okay, I'm gonna open it in a new tab. It's Lego Batman. Let's see. Oh, okay, it's a Lego Batman GIF. Okay. Okay, yeah, because the chat thingy, for some reason it doesn't show me GIFs. It doesn't show me the GIF, so that's why I couldn't. It showed me just a link, so I was okay. Okay, you're good. You're good. Um, yeah. Speaking of Lego Batman, dude. Um, so first of all, yeah, as if you're new to my channel, uh, you've I don't know if you've seen my past videos, but basically I'm working right now. I'm working on the final chapter in my Lego Batman trilogy. Um, so the project as a whole is called Lego Batman: Legacy of the Joker, and okay, so okay, you're not new. It's okay, but I'm still, I'm still explaining like when every episode, of a series is kind of like previously on the series, I'm just gonna doing a recap. So I'm working on this project called the Lego Batman: Legacy of the Joker, and it's a trilogy of brick films that they tell a story uh, about Jason Todd, who used to be Robin, uh, and who becomes the Joker after the death of Red Robin, Tim Drake, and the suicide of the original Joker. So the first chapter, The Dark Clown Rises, is already out. It's been out for like 3 years now. It's been out since January 2017. So it's been 2 years. It's been a bit over 2 years, and then the second chapter, A Joke to Die For, came out later that year on uh, October 31st, right on Halloween. Um, so those two chapters are out, and now I'm currently working on the third and last chapter, which is called Lego Batman: The Last Laugh. And I know it's got Lego Batman. I know it's got Lego Batman on the title, and that it's not really a Batman story. Like it doesn't really focus on Batman. It mainly focuses on Jason Todd. It doesn't mainly focus on Batman. Batman is not the main focus of this project, but it's still within the Batman universe, and like Batman is like he's sort of the center. He's like he's sort of the center, and he's sort of this you know he's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of the root of this of this story, really. Him and the Joker and Jason Todd. Those three are the three main characters. Um, so yeah, so it mainly focuses on Jason Todd, and then you know, uh, and then there's also the original Joker and Batman. Uh, so yeah, so I'm currently working on The Last Laugh. I've been working on The Last Laugh for over a year now, and I don't have much to show for it, to be completely honest, um, because hey, the Narav is here. Okay, yeah, I don't have much to show for it because there's always been room for improvement in every scene that I've shot. The first week of production on The Last Laugh, I've been rushing the production process, and I've it's come to a point where in the first week I was like 80% done with the project. But then I looked at what I made, and I saw a lot of room for improvement. I saw that I wasn't fully satisfied with what I've done, and so um, I also wanted to like maybe to like discover a way, like my own style of animation, like maybe not because it won't be fully my own, because my animation will be inspired by, it's got a bit of, animation is gonna have a bit of force fire, and it's gonna have a bit of Lego story production, and it's gonna and a bit of, and some of the and it's that style of animation combined with my vision, with my um, camera angles, with my lighting. And well, my camera angles are my own, but the lighting would be inspired by other people on the YouTube brick filming community. So yeah, it's in production so far. Let's see what my list says. So yeah, there's been a bunch of, I've cut a bunch of things from the script. There's some lines of dialogues that I've cut because they didn't really seem to fit. Um, they seemed very forced and out of context, and so I decided to cut those from the script. And there's also a couple of scenes that I've cut from the script as well, because I feel like they're not needed, and they were really annoying to animate, and so it wasn't really worth to keep them in the script, especially if they're not that important. So yeah, I've made a lot of changes, and I've also added a lot of action. So there's gonna be balance. There's gonna be a balance of both dialogue and action, and that's from what is for me the ideal culmination of my work, which is because I don't the first chapter the Dark Clown Rises, it's more, I don't know what is more valued, like what is more um noticeable, like I don't know what's the first thing that you that I haven't focused much. You could say that the well for the Dark Clown Rises was my first attempt at telling a story, and so that's what my main goal was. I didn't really focus on the animation. I didn't really focus on I mainly focused on the script, and the how I want to tell the story. So the animation uh, wasn't really good. There wasn't much animation really. There was more dialogue than action. I mean there was dialogue, and that's basically what the main focus was on, was just telling the story. And so yeah, as a first brick film, it was is a first like storytelling like video. It was a success. But then with A Joke to Die For, I was more focused on I feel like I was more focused on making sense of making sense making meh. I was more focused about making sense with the dialogue, like making sense out of the dialogue. Um, so yeah, I was more focused on the writing, on the dialogue, and like on like plot twists, and there was less action. There was like very the action in it was very limited. Um, and now I'm trying to make up for it with the last laugh, I'm trying to add more action and have my have you know have my animation not be just dialogue. Have my story not be just dialogue, or mostly dialogue. I want to have more action, because ultimately, when you watch a brick film, it's it's more what you really look for in a brick film is not the story really, but the action, because it's an animation. It's an animation, and if the characters you animate don't really do anything but just talk, then it's just boring. So that's what I've been trying to do, um, and that's what I'm still trying to do with the last laugh here. So yeah, production has been taking a long time. It's been going on for a long while, on and off. Right now, right now I'm taking a little hiatus from production because my external hard drive is um, dysfunctional, and so I took it to the shop to get fixed. And right now, it's taking a long time to back it up. It's become very slow. So like every 3 or 4 days, it will take like 4 days to back up like 24% of storage. So it will probably take a couple more weeks to back up, and then and then like an extra half day to fix. So right now, the way I see it, it would be stupid to make progress without being able to back it up, because then if I make progress now while the external hard drive is at the shop, then it'll be all messy to like back up and select and all that crap. So yeah, I'm just taking a couple more weeks off uh from production, from animation, and in the meantime I have some other stuff to do. I have a play at the conservatory uh that we're working on, and uh I'm going to act in it. And there's also a bunch of flyers and posters that I've been distributing all around town, and I'm being paid for it, so that's pretty great. I'm making a little money on the side, and yeah, I'm just trying to, right. And in the next couple of weeks, I'll be probably most likely like interacting more with you guys. I'm planning another live stream um, on Friday 24th, Friday, May 24th. I'm planning another live stream, and I'll have a special guest if everything goes well. Um, so yeah, that would be great. I don't know. Um, I don't know if there will be live streams between now and then, but yeah, you'll know. You'll know. I'll be here 1 second. But yeah, I see there's a lot of new comments on the chat. So let's uh let's read them. But yeah, I'm sorry it's been so long. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but I also kind of don't, if I'm to be completely honest, uh because yeah, it would suck if like if what I have if I gave you the quick rushed version of The Last Laugh, it wouldn't look as great as it would if it took me a while longer to make. So yeah, it sucks to be inactive, but trust me, it's for the greater. It's for the better good, the greater good, and it's for the better of The Last Laugh, which is probably my most anticipated project on this channel. If I even have, if people even anticipate, if people even look forward to my projects, I don't even know, because because I'm inactive and I'm not able to interact with you guys, and so the interaction can't be reciprocated. But yeah, let's read those comments, shall we? Okay, so Gareth Anderson, Lego Videos and More says, I love your videos. Thanks, man. I saw it all. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see that GIF you sent. That second GIF you sent. Oh, okay, it's Benny says hello. That's awesome. Gareth Anderson says, Joker, it's the Joker. Then Rob says, hello there. Hey, how's it going? It's been a while. Fuck YouTube notifications. Yeah, you said it. Yeah, sometimes sometimes YouTube notifications can be like really shitty, and sometimes they like notify you of videos that you don't even care about. Gareth Anderson says, "Can I be mod?" Um, maybe later, like later this year, if I make more streams and like if you're really there every time, like those other guys, like the Narav and Geo, then sure, I'll make you a mod, because those two people have been very loyal. And well, I'm sorry, the fact that I can't remember you, well, that explains everything. I'll be there just a second. Just had to shut the window so I don't smell my father smoking. But yeah, where was I? But yeah, someday I believe that someday you'll be fit to be a mod. Then again, that it also depends on how often I'll be doing these live streams. There used to be a time I'd do those every weekend, but that time, well, not anymore. Yeah. Then Rob says, how's you been, Alan?" That's great English. How's you been, Alan? Yeah, I've been up and down a lot, mostly down, and then then up and down and up and down and down and down and up and down and down and down and down and down and up again and down again. Dude, it's been very messed up. My past year has been very messed up. Yeah, there's been a lot of yeah, no, I've had a rough year. Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've had a rough year. I don't know if I should go into detail. I probably shouldn't go into detail, because I want to talk about about uplifting stuff, about happier stuff. So, but yeah, right now I'm like in this gray zone where I'm neither down nor up, like really in the middle ground. So safe. Crazy, but safe. Yeah, the safe kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Super Geo says, yo man. How's it going? Nurav says hello there, Geo. Then Nurav says, look, Alan, take as much time as you need. Thank you. I appreciate the understanding and the support. Thank you. Let's see the next GIF. Oh no, that's the same GIF. Okay. Nurav says, Alon, perfectly balanced. Perfectly balanced. Yeah, you see that? You see that? Perfectly balanced. As all things should be. uh, Gareth Anderson says, I want to be mod. One day. I mean, like, just, hold on to that. Um, where was I? Oh, yeah. But yeah, Nurav says perfectly balanced as all things should be. Yeah. Nurav says, Gareth, please don't keep begging to be a mod. The more you ask, the less likely. Gareth Anderson says, no, that's okay. I'm not bothered. Okay. Then Nurav says, Alon, dialogue is Gucci. Prefer lots of dialogue rather than no dialogue and only a shit ton of action. Well, you see, no, there should still be a balance of dialogue and action, because dialogue helps tell a story and action helps entertaining. And in animation, in Lego stop motion especially, action is. I would say I'd put more. Action should be more valued when it comes to more valued, and like there should be more action in a stop motion video, because again, when if you're making a stop motion where 90% of it is dialogue and 90% of it is basically your character standing up and moving hands ever so slightly every 3 seconds and talk and talk and talk, I mean, it becomes boring eventually, if not like directly um, boring. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to balance it out this time around. So yeah, the Nurav says, I politely disagree. That's your choice. That's perfectly legitimate. I'd say just look at Linkin Pop. Yeah, Linkin Pop has a lot of dialogue now that you mention it. I can see that now. He has a lot of dialogue, and but he also has a lot of, I don't know if a lot, but he also has action, and it's I I haven't seen a Linkin Pop video in a long time, but from my memory, I don't think it's that well balanced between the dialogue and the action. I think there's more dialogue than action. There's like, well, for example, from my memory, um, when you watch like Batman Under the Red Hood, like his rendition, his when you watch his adaptation of it, it has like at least three and a half scenes of action scenes. and the rest is dialogue, and it's like a 20-30 minute video, something like that. Which is, I mean, I know I make like a disgusted face, but I'm not disgusted by any means. Uh, it's not wrong, but like me, that's not what I look for in a brick film. Of course, dialogue is interesting to listen to, and it makes the story interesting. But ultimately, when I watch an animation video, I mostly I mainly look for the action. And but that's, yeah. Then again, that's just me. But yeah, no, I think. I mean, come on. I mean, come on. Let's be honest here. Action should be more valued when it comes to stop motion animation. Um, Especially when it comes to Lego stop motion animation, because um, dialogue scenes in Lego, it becomes the process of it, for like not only the process of making it, but the process of watching it. Like it's all just very repetitive. It's all the same. Um, it's just different dialogue, but like the animation is always the same. So that's why you add action. There's more variety in action. There's a lot of things that you can do in action. There's walking, there's fighting, there's different fighting moves, and there's jumps and kicks and punches and turning and all that, you know. And so there should be at least one of each in in a video, in my opinion. Um, Danilov says, "Ooh, special guest, dude. Give a date, and I'll count down to the final part of the trilogy." I don't have a date, dude. I wish I had a date, but um, that's the thing, dude. Once I set myself a goal. Once I set myself a release date, that makes it very stressful, and I don't feel like I'm able to live up to that to that goal. And I don't feel like, because if I say, like, right now, if I say I want to release this in September 2019, on like the 30th or the 31st of September 2019. What if something comes up and I'm not able to live up to that release date? And yeah, what if I'm not able to make it up to that? Like, what if the project is not able to make it to that release date? Like, what if I need more time? That would just suck to postpone it. So that's why I don't make any promises, because I don't like. What if I can't keep them? That would suck, right? So yeah, that's why I don't set myself a release date, because yeah, I know I've been procrastinating a lot this year. But then again, there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm an artist. like like when it comes to projects and life in general, I like taking my time, and even procrastinating once in a while, because right now because especially with this project, I know in my heart that I want to finish it, no matter how long it takes. this is something that I need to finish. This is something that I need to do, and that's that's all that matters to me, is that I make sure that I get it done no matter how long it will take. So yeah, that's why I don't set myself a release date. But um, once I'm done editing, like once I'm about to be done editing, I'll definitely set a premiere date for the video um, on YouTube. Like it'll be like once it's finished, a week in advance. Like I'll I'll set a premiere date a week in advance on YouTube. Then Ralph says, Gareth, patience, my young Padawan. Then Ralph says, up and down. I don't know what to say, but after every storm comes sunshine. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. Right now, it's right now it's kind of like in Switzerland. Like there's a bit of sunshine, but every now and again it's raining again. So you're never sure when the sunshine will come and, like, stay for a while, or even if it will stay permanently. So yeah, that's just it. I'm not waiting. I'm not looking. I'm just living in the moment, and whatever comes my way, I'll just take it and live with it, and that's life. I mean, it's a very I don't know if it's a great way to look at it, but I don't really have a choice at this point with on my end. Um, but then again, I want to talk about other stuff. There also says the middle ground, like a wise man once said, better to be content than happy. You balanced is best. Sorry if I sound weird. It's okay. I like when my fans are being weird every now and again, every now and then. Every now and then. I watched the Ultron series. The Ultron series. What's that? I watched. Oh yeah, Linkin Pop's Ultron series. Yeah, you see that was a like it's that was a great project. That's like what probably his best project. But I'll probably, if you rewatch it, like I haven't rewatched it, but if you rewatch it, if you take the time to rewatch it, you'll probably find like some stuff that you yourself would probably feel like, the project could have done good without those things. You'd find things that should have been cut from the script, or things that should have maybe uh, been uh, written differently or animated differently. But then again, uh, you know, that's I mean, it's great to analyze movies, but at the end of the day, you can't change it yourself. It's up to the artist himself if he wants to change it or leave it that way. And personally, I would, like, if I were him, I would. I don't know if I'd. Yeah, it's because there. I mean, there's a choice. You could. You could either leave it as is or do a reboot and improve on the same concept, the same story, and just like redo the animation or maybe recast or improve the animation, recast, add some more effects, so rewrite some bits here, some bits there, and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically. I don't know. I mean, it's that project. It took a long time to make. The Ultron project, the Ultron series, took a long time to make. Um, so I don't really see him retouching it anytime soon. Yeah, let the boy rest for a while. Let him make other stuff, dude. The Ultron project must have been like exhausting to make. Really, kudos. I take my hat off to that guy, Linkin Pop, dude. Damn. um. So yeah, so then Ralph says, I watched the Ultron series, I watched for the story. Something that can be said is in most conversations. I don't know, I see brick films as just another medium of storytelling, but everyone has their preferences. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and you should make the brick film you want to make. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going for here. Don't change it to other stuff to please other people. No, not at all. No, that's what I'm going for. I'm really doing what I feel is right because that's what I want out of it. Then after setting a deadline just to make things go way slower and rushed, so ignore what I said, please. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, don't worry about it. I've said this all before, but take your time. It's like when you take a shit, it's much better to wipe a few times and get everything off instead of doing it rushed and having some crusty shit. Like, did you like I see it's a good metaphor, but did you really just compare my work to shit? That's hilarious. I mean, in a way, it would be the perfect metaphor, but like it's in some point of view, it would be the perfect metaphor. But like, yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry, it's okay. I get your point. Um, so yeah, then Ralph says, "Dude, same weather here. It goes from sunshine to fucking lightning, thunder, rain to beautiful sunshine." Yeah, same here. Gio says, "I'm back. Where have you been, dude? Where have you been all this time? I've been talking and talking, and you've just been away. What's up with that, man?" Um, then Ralph says, "Yeah, the Ultron series must have drained away single pieces of sweat he had." Then he says, then they say, "Shit, I didn't mean it like that." It's okay. Don't worry about it. Joe says, "I've been on crusade." Well, yeah, good for you. You've been on a crusade, but what about me, dude? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm humoring you. And Ross says, "Super Geo became a veteran." Oh frick. But yeah, okay. So now I really wanna. So the main topic I've been wanting to talk about. I'm glad that that I was able to talk about the last laugh too. But um, now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about Game of Thrones because it's been back for a month now, almost. So yeah, it's been almost a month since the return of Game of Thrones, and 4 episodes are already out of the 6, and there's 2 episodes remaining, and the 3rd episode of season 8 has been very controversial, and I really want to talk about it. First of all, there's a couple more comments in the chat. Gio says the trees are speaking Vietnamese. What the fuck, man? Noah says, I guess this is the part where I have to go. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. Oh, that's too bad. But yeah, like, thank you for tuning in so far, Nurav. It's been fun having you in the chat. I'll see you next time. Take care. Have fun. But yeah, back to Game of Thrones. Episode 3, The Long Night, has been probably the most controversial episode in the series. Because first of all, it was the Raf says I'll join a bit later. Okay, that's great. The what? Yeah. So episode 3, The Long Night, has been, first of all, it was the biggest and longest battle sequence in the history of cinema and TV. And kudos really goes to HBO and the showrunners Dan and Dave. Even though the entire, like, 90% of the episode was dark as hell, and you could barely make out anything that was going on. It still remains like a great episode. A lot of people have been disappointed. A lot of people have been disappointed, have been ranting about the episode, but less so about the fact that it was a visually dark episode, and they didn't complain. Of course, there were a lot of complaints about the lighting, but that's not the issue I want to talk about. The issue I'm going to talk about is really the story, because people have been complaining a lot. People have been ranting a lot about the story, and I've seen a lot of videos talking about how they should have, how it was a very underwhelming and very bad payoff to something that's been set up since season 1, and that's like the coming of the White Walkers and the Long Night and the Great War for the the Great War, life against death and all that. People have been complaining. So yeah, by the way, full on I'm gonna be talking spoilers here, right? So if you're not caught up on, I've said it in the chat at the beginning of the stream, if you're not caught up on Game of Thrones, you've been warned. There's no point in watching the stream if you're not caught up, because I mean, if you don't care, you can still watch, but I digress. Anyway, people complain a lot about how it ended, about that the people say it lasted too short, and they weren't satisfied at all with how it came to an end and how it went down, and that the stakes were low, and that the lighting was bad. But that's entirely different. That's a whole other story. But yeah, they've been ranting a lot about about the story, about the plan, about how the episode how it all went down, and I kind of want to defend it because I do not agree with the rants. I really don't agree with the rants because I kind of see, because as much as there's a lot of I agree, there's some things that don't, there's at least one or two things that don't make sense in this episode, but I see why they were, that I see why they what way they happen, because when making a, what I understand now is when you write a battle scene, it's and if you write it purely based on logic, then I mean it's great, but it's also kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but like for example, it would have made sense to see Jon Snow have a face off with the Night King. It would have been logical to have him, you know, have him be the one to kill the Night King, because it would just make sense, because we've seen them on scene together, like every time, like you would think that every time you'd see them gazing at each other, that's a setup for Jon Snow and the Night King having a face off, a showdown, a duel, and Jon eventually killing the Night King. But um, I see why they chose not to, because in their heads they were setting off they're setting up a, a different ending that wasn't necessarily, like, we didn't pay too much attention to that setup, because we didn't think that would be possible, because we didn't think it was that important. When in season 3, um when Melisandre encounters Arya and tells her, uh, "I see a great darkness in you, and in that darkness, eyes staring back at me, brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, eyes you'll shut forever." That's a prophecy, and that sets up a payoff that would eventually come down, and so it kind of, it's the payoff of that prophecy started when Arya came back to Westeros from Essos and killed Walder Frey. That was the brown eyes part. He was one of Arya's victims who had brown eyes. She's killed tons of other brown-eyed characters throughout the show. She's also killed Meryn Trant back in season, what was it, season 5? Season 6. No, yeah, no, it's the end of season 5 she killed Meryn Trant, and then the end of the end of season 5 she killed Meryn Trant. The end of season 6 she killed Walder Frey, and so yeah, both had brown eyes. She also killed plenty of people with blue eyes. She killed the waif. that girl she was competing with at the House of Black and White back in Essos. She also killed Littlefinger, who also has you know also has like blue eyes, and like in some shade of blue. Um, but I guess I mean, it would have been a payoff still, um, but yeah, they were probably looking for something bigger than for a bigger victim than just Littlefinger and the waif when they foreshadowed a blue-eyed victim. And so I've okay, so this upcoming like segment is gonna be scripted because I've watched this one video complaining about that episode, and there was I wanted to comment on that video expressing my thoughts on the issue, but I didn't end up commenting it because I felt like I should um, I should express it like um, on a like I should express it visually, uh, audibly, verbally in a video of my own. But I didn't want to put too much time to it either because I don't want to make an entire project out of it because that's not what my channel is about. And I just don't like making uh, uh, more than one project. I don't like working on more than one project uh, when it comes to my channel. So that's why I've decided to leave this segment, this but yeah, I've decided to leave this for the live stream for this live stream. Me can do the English is in the chat. Says, "Hey Al, what's up? I'm good. I'm fine. How are you? It's been a while." So so this next bit is gonna be long, scripted, and I'm gonna be talking about Game of Thrones. So if you're not caught up, here's your warning. So I'm gonna be talking about mainly episode 3. So I think people are exaggerating with their rants about Game of Thrones and this specific episode. There's nothing wrong with changing. I mean, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with changing the scenery for the sake of spectacle. That's a whole for me that at least from my point of view, that's the whole point of a show and of cinema in general. It's to combine real life aspects with visual spectacle in order to tell a story that in some parts goes beyond logic and realism. There's nothing wrong in sometimes like there's nothing wrong with sometimes integrating a certain scene that you know doesn't realistically or logically make sense, but serves a certain purpose anyway uh, in the storytelling. And so Game of Thrones, while having some realistic aspects in it, remains a fiction. Me can do the English says, I'm pretty good, man. My YouTube's been doing pretty well. And it also says I agree with that. Okay, good to know. So moving on. So in season 8, episode 3, The Long Night, the scene with the Dothraki charging at the army of the dead doesn't make sense. I agree with that. It doesn't make sense. Heck, the fact that Jorah Mormont, a knight that has been to battle several times and has already fought the army of the dead once, The fact that him led the charge doesn't make sense. The army of the dead should have charged first, but they're expendable. I mean, they should have charged first because they're expendable and they don't care. But so that may have been a mistake on the writer's part, but they didn't try to make sense when they wrote that scene. The Dothraki are riders who ride their horses to battle and die riding their horses. That's what they basically live for. So there was no other way to include them in the battle that's consistent with their character, and there was no way they were going to sit this battle out. So yeah, that was the only logical way to have them being part of the battle, and yeah, that's fine, even if it doesn't make sense strategically. Not everything has to make sense in a battle scene. The Dothraki charging at the army of the dead was merely the triggering element that started the battle, so the story can build on from that. And that's what it's all about, telling a story. Gio says, honestly, I've never really gotten into Game of Thrones. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Like, have you at least given it a try? Then Ralph says, "Hey, j'ai retourné." Grammatically, you've got everything wrong. But that's, I mean, it's okay. I don't mind. We can do the English says, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I enjoy listening to your opinions on visual storytelling. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've had a lot of time to really analyze this episode because I've been trying to tell a story of my own with the last laugh, and I've been making a lot of changes, and I've been thinking of I've been having a lot of ideas that don't necessarily make sense, that they're not really consistent with the way I've been, the way I've been telling a story with the previous chapters. But I've decided that I don't care about consistency really for this chapter. I mean, I've been, when it comes to the story itself, I do, but when it comes to the action sequences, when it comes to the action, I don't really care about consistency because I want it to look fun, and I want it to, I want it really to like, I want the action scenes to shine really, and I want to put that to put my skills to work, and like really just do everything, like really put everything that I know, put all the cards on the table and show everything that I can do, and try to do everything. Uh, just really go to the fullest. So Mikinu the English says, yeah, if you've ever made a movie / animation, you understand how much visuals matter. Yeah, exactly. Geo says, I've watched a few episodes, but to be honest, I prefer Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's legitimate. Then again, I mean, they're really very different entities, but yeah, it's legitimate if you want. I don't mind. The Rob says, Lord of the Rings is Bay. Yeah, basically all modern fantasy has traits of Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Harry Potter, wise old gray bearded wizard who dies from falling, red-haired best friend, yeah, or two red-haired twins to keep making jokes. The ring equals Horcruxes. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, back to my back to my Game of Thrones uh, little scripted review here, or back to my analysis of the episode. So yeah, that about the just to recap the last sentence about the Dothraki. Basically, the Dothraki charging at the army of the dead was merely the triggering element that started the battle, so the story can build on from that, and that's what it's all about, telling a story. That's what, at least what I think was the intention when the writers, when the creators wrote that episode. So when it comes to Jon, Dany, Bran, or Theon killing the Night King, like people wanting either one of them to be the one to kill the Night King. Um, so the way it goes down, the way the episode goes down is really like a game of chess if you think about it. And here's why it went down the way it did. Um, if you've seen the episode, you'd know that in the end of the battle, at the very climax of it, Arya is the one that kills the Night King, and so brings an end to the long night, to end to the battle. So this is how it went down. Here's why it went down the way it did. First, Jon and Dany, they spot Jon and Daenerys. They're on their dragons, and they spot the Night King flying his dragon, and Jon and the Night King they fight on their dragons, and then Daenerys saves Jon and knocks the Night King off of Viserion, who is the Night King's dragon. Then when the Night King crashes, and he still survives, of course. Daenerys pulls a Dracarys on the Night King, so basically her dragon shoots fire at him, uh, in the intention of roasting him and just see if that kills him. So they Dracarys his ass, but it doesn't work because apparently he's immune to dragon fire. The logic of which is questionable because dragon fire is used in the process of forging Valyrian steel, and Valyrian steel, we see that it does kill White Walkers. But yeah, again, the logic is sort of irrelevant because it would be too easy. It would be too easy if Dragonfire had worked. If she just shot fire at him and he died, and that's just it. It would have been too easy. So that's why it didn't work. Then Jon spots the Night King on the ground. He's on foot. His dragon is the Jon's dragon has been injured. So he lands. He crash. Yeah, they crash, and Jon is on foot, and he spots the Night King, and yeah, people would have expected a duel. They would have expected a face-off and a showdown between Jon and the Night King. They would have expected the Night King to pull off his blade, and they for both of them to have a duel, to have a face-off, and yeah, that they think that because they think, oh, all these scenes of them gazing at each other with such hatred, that's definitely a setup for that. But here's the thing. It makes sense for the Night King to pull a dick move and resurrect the dead surrounding them to prevent Jon from reaching him. Yeah. Here's finally something that makes sense, and you don't like it? The Night King doesn't care about having a one-on-one with Jon. He's here to kill Bran. He knows the rest of the living will die anyway sooner or later, so fighting one specific person is basically a waste of time. He wants to kill Bran because he wants to erase life and all memory of life from the world. Other than that, he doesn't choose his victims for a specific reason. His mission is to kill everyone because the children of the forest made that his mission. They made him the personification of death. So, and people they wanted to they wanted an identity reveal, but his identity doesn't matter, because when your mission when you create a character, when you create a character who's basically the personification of death, it doesn't matter who he used to be before he was made to before he became the Night King. Doesn't matter. They think, oh no, there's more to that. He's not just a force of nature. He's not just death incarnated. It can't be just that. But I mean, dude, he's called the Night King. First of all, he's called the Night King, and the children of the forest created him and the White Walkers. And when they created them, they created them to kill men, kill all men, because they for them that was the White Walkers were their weapon, the way for them to defend themselves. The White Walkers were supposed to. They created the White Walkers to protect themselves, but then they went all Ultron on them and became more than just what they made them to be. They became the Night King became basically death, and the White Walkers, who are his henchmen, are basically each one is a different disease. You can say that, okay, so the Night King is death in general, and there's cancer, and there's AIDS, and there's all different sicknesses and diseases that cause death following him. And the army of, I mean, come on, his army is his army is called the Army of the Dead for a reason, because it's made out of dead people. Sure, they were brought back to life, or now they're undead, but it's dead people, and that's the kind of the White Walkers' version of afterlife, if you will. That's their version of hell. The whatever's beyond the wall, that's hell. The lands of always winter, that's what I think, at least, is their version of hell, basically, because once they die and the White Walkers bring them back to life, they bring death to the rest of the living, and they grow until everything is death. So yeah, that's how I see it. But moving on. Moving on. So Jon is outnumbered by the dead, but then Daenerys saves him, burning the dead with the help of Drogon, her dragon. And then they land, allowing Jon to go after the Night King. But then some more whites, or AKA zombies, Game of Thrones zombies, show up and climb Drogon, So he flies to shake them off, and Daenerys is left on the ground surrounded by more whites, and Jorah shows up to save her, and they fight together. So Daenerys and Jorah are distracted, therefore they can't go after the Night King. Then Jon is on his way to catch and kill the Night King, but then Viserion, who is the Night King's undead dragon, shows up and stands in his way. Jon doesn't have anywhere to go because no matter where he goes to, Viserion will Dracarys his ass, shoot fire at him, and so he's basically it's basically a dead end for Jon. So the only chance he's got, the only chance Jon has got at uh, getting past Viserion is to kill him, so he doesn't stand in his way of going for the Night King. So Jon is distracted. So Daenerys and Jorah are distracted. Jon is distracted. Therefore, neither of them can go after the Night King. So then the Night King arrives at the Godswood, where Bran is, protected by Theon. The writers wanted to pull off a hero's death for Theon because they want Theon to get redemption. That would be like a full circle for Theon's character arc in the series. And I see the way I see it, it fits perfectly for his character arc. Yeah, absolutely. So logically and strategically, he could have tried to kill the Night King by throwing his spear at him. Because Theon, we've seen him, he knows he's got somewhat of a good aim. And I mean, yeah, we've seen him in action with a bow and arrow. And he's got a spear, so you'd assume he knows how to throw a spear, and there was distance between him and the Night King when the Night King got to the Godswood. So you'd assume, you should go for it. Just throw the spear, dude. You can do it. I mean, at least you would have tried. What the fuck are you doing charging at the dude? What, you want to get killed on purpose? The fuck, man? But here's the thing: it would yes, it would be logical, but that's not the purpose they were trying to. That's not the point they were trying to make. That was not the purpose they were trying to serve. It doesn't. It's not about logic here. Some things are done not because of logic, but because they serve a certain purpose, and the purpose they wanted to serve in this scene was a full circle and a hero's death and redemption for Theon's, and that's why Theon just charged at him. Why Theon just charged at the Night King with his spear, and that's why it was all in slow motion with dramatic music and him screaming. Yeah, that if he could have tried to kill the Night King by throwing his spear at him, but it would have been too easy if it worked. And so it would have been too easy if it worked on one hand, and on the other hand, if the Night King could see it coming, so he would have totally either dodged the spear or caught it. Or caught it. I'm fixing my script here as I go. So yeah, he could have totally either dodged the spear or caught it and thrown it back at Theon, which would make his death look stupid. Therefore, Theon charges at the Night King and gets killed with the same spear he used to protect Bran, who is the kid whose castle he robbed him of and whose family he's betrayed. And I think that's a perfectly fitting death for Theon, if he should die, that is. And yeah, I think he never looked for forgiveness. Death would have been forgiveness, but and he said earlier in the series that he's not looking for forgiveness, and that he doesn't deserve forgiveness. But right here was this shot of making things right, and I think that, you know, that the way it was written and the way it was executed was great. So now finally, the Night King walks towards Bran to kill him. Then, when he's about to pull out his blade to kill Bran, Arya, why the fuck does it say array? Arya jumps from behind in order to strike him down, but then he turns and catches her with both his hands, one on her blade, holding hand, no, one on her blade holding hand, damn it, and the other on her throat. Arya can still use her other hand. So she's got this hand holding the blade initially, and the Night King is holding this hand and her throat, but she has this hand free. So what she does is simply she pulls on the same move we've seen her pull on Brienne last season, and she just, she just uh, lets she drops her dagger in order to catch it with her free hand, and uses that hand to stab the Night King. So she stabs the Night King and she kills him. How did this happen, and why did this happen? First, there's the part about the prophecy. The brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes prophecy. And okay, so what I believe is the brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes prophecy, and the Azor Ahai prophecy, I believe they're connected. The prophecy of Azor Ahai doesn't refer to one person in the show, at least. I mean, it does refer to one person, but there, like, there's more than one prince who was promised to have a role to play in that prophecy, in the fulfillment of that prophecy. And here's here it is. I'm just correcting some of the stuff here, but yeah, here's the people who had roles to play in the prophecy of the prince of who are, in the prophecy of the prince who was promised: Daenerys, Melisandre, Stannis, Jon, and Arya. So I'm gonna basically read the prophecy, and I'm gonna read it bit by bit and tell you what it refers to, like, in how I analyze it. But before I get to that, I'm gonna take a short break to read some of the comments here. Mika knew the English says, sorry I disappeared for a sec, that's okay. The Rav makes more um, spots more similarities between Lord of the Rings and other fantasies. Wow, there's someone in the chat whose username is literally just wow, and they say I didn't like the last 2 episodes. Okay, that's what I'm here for, to state my thoughts, to express my thoughts. Gio says hello there, Ryan. Potato Boy 1840 says hello, you beautiful bastard. Hi. Thank you. Lovely evening. Yeah. So here's the. So I'm gonna read the prophecy of the prince who was promised, bit by bit, and analyze it bit by bit, basically. So there will come a day after a long summer when the stars bleed and the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world. So first of all, I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, but the Azor Ahai and the Prince of Westpromise are the same prophecy, right? Because I mean, I've seen I've read a lot of like other like there's like a version where the prince who was promised is like he stabs the love of his life and with the sword, and the sword he pulls it out and it goes in flames, uh and like he's only taking a short like a short part of it, and he goes with it north and either kills the White Walkers with it, or I don't know, but I'm just this so I'm basically reading the Azor Ahai. I'm reading the Azor Ahai prophecy, and I'm analyzing it bit by bit uh so bit by bit with the things that we've seen visually throughout the show, and according to everything that's happened on the show so far. So there will come a day after a long summer when the stars bleed and the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world. I believe this refers to the comet that occurred following the birth of Dany's dragons. So if you remember, if you've watched Game of Thrones, and remember, the end of season 1, Daenerys uh, burns the Khal Drogo's body, who is her husband, and on the pyre, she also burns the witch who killed her husband, basically, and she also puts her 3 dragon eggs, and she also goes into the fire herself, um, and when the fire when the dust settles, she basically came back. She survived she survived the fire, basically, and out of the fire her 3 dragons were born. And following the birth of her dragons in season 2, I think it was either on episode 1, yeah. So in episode 1 or 2 of season 2, there was a comet, and so I think that part of the prophecy refers to the comet that occurred following the birth of Daenerys dragons, and the winter the cold breath of darkness falls heavy. So the stars bled and cold breath the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world is the winter that was on its way. The Night King and the army of the dead coming with it. And then the prophecy continues, saying, "In this dread hour, a warrior shall draw from the fire a burning sword, and that sword shall be Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes, and he who clasps it shall be Azor Ahai, come again, and the darkness shall flee before him." So this is where the prophecy basically splits to refer to multiple people who each have part of the prophecy in their story arcs. The Dread Hour is everything that happened throughout the show. A warrior shall draw from the fire a burning sword, and the sword shall be Lightbringer, and he who clasps it shall be Azor Ahai come again, and the darkness shall flee before him. The first person Melisandre believes in, that Melisandre believes the prophecy refers to is Stannis. And Stannis, he is the first. We see him pulling a sword from the fire, following the comet that took place that night. So he's also the first character we've seen visually on the show pulling a sword from a fire. The first person we've seen on screen wielding a flaming sword. So he pulled a sword from the fire following the comet that took place that night. Years later, Stannis goes north and meets Jon Snow. When Stannis dies at Winterfell, Melisandre, the priestess who believed the prophecy referred to Stannis, she has a vision of Jon Snow fighting at Winterfell. So every time every now and then she'll have a bit of the prophecy, like she'll be able to see more. She'll be able to see the prophecy clearer and clearer throughout the show. So first she met Stannis. So first she saw Stannis. Then, before they went north and met Jon Snow, Davos had read them a letter from the Night's Watch, telling them about the threat of the White Walkers, and that the death marches on the wall. And so when she took that letter and put it and burn it and watched the flames, was waiting for an answer from the flames. The flames answered, and she seen one more bit of the prophecy that should go north. And when Jon died, like when Stannis died, she saw Jon. She has a vision of Jon fighting at Winterfell. So when Jon dies, she tries and brings him back from the dead with the help of the Lord of Light, leading her to believe in Jon. Then Jon fights and wins Winterfell back. When Arya hears about Jon's victory, she comes back home to Winterfell. where eventually, when the dead, aka the darkness, come, she'll be there to kill the source of the darkness, the Night King, which his demise is a metaphor for saying not today to death. When Arya kills the Night King, the dead went back to being dead. The battle was over as a new day was about to start. Here's the thing. Melisandre couldn't see the prophecy clearly when she was in Westeros, and that's why when winter finally came, she went to Volantis so she can solve the riddle of the prophecy and learn some fire spells along the way, because that was at the world's most dread hour, and that's when the power of the Lord of Light seems to work the best with Melisandre. Now, as of the logistics of how the Night King's demise went down, see, look, the Night King was about to kill Bran. Okay, he was right in front of him, with his followers at a distance, and the majority of his focus on the task of killing Bran. So the army of the dead, working as a hive mind, the source of which being the Night King, was too slow to see Arya coming, and Arya is capable to be the one to kill the Night King because she's quick and sneaky. We've seen her be quick before. I believe. I mean, yeah, she's quick. We've seen her being quick. From the first season, she said, "I can be quick," and we've seen her being sneaky as well. And Winterfell is her home, so she knows her ground, and everything that she's been through in her life, everything that she's been through throughout the show, has led her to that moment. And that's how it happened. And I'm very okay with that it happened that way. Although if she winds up being the one to kill Cersei as well, I'll be kind of pissed unless they execute it in a you know in a seemingly logical way, if you will, like they did right here. So, I mean, and by logical, in a seemingly logical way, I mean like if they tell it well, if the story that they're trying to tell is good, basically. So as for the stakes of the battle not being very high, and the battle taking place over the course of one episode, the characters were prepared for this, and they had a plan. Every time something bad happens is because the characters are not prepared for it. If you see, when Ned Stark died at the end of season 1, no one was prepared for that. When the Red Wedding occurred, when everyone died there, no one was ready for that. When the White Walkers, when the Army of the Dead, when they attacked Hardhome in season 5 and basically killed 90% of the population there, no one was ready for they weren't ready for that, so that's why they lost. When earlier in season 3, in the beginning of season 3, when the Night's Watch is ambushed by the White Walkers, they lost. They survived, but they weren't ready for them. So probably some of their men joined the dead that time, and but some things, some battles, some grand battles that was set up took place over the course of one episode because the characters were prepared for that. Like, for example, in season 4, at the Battle of Castle Black, when the wildlings attacked Castle Black, they attacked the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch were prepared for that because Jon had insight and Jon had that information, and he helped them prepare for it. And yeah, they were prepared for it, and they know their ground, and they live. Basically, their duty is to defend the castle and defend the wall, and that's why they triumphed at the end of that battle, and that's why it took place over the course of one episode, and that's also the reason why the Battle of Winterfell every other Battle of Winterfell, whenever it took place over the course of one episode. Like when Stannis attacked the Boltons at Winterfell, we barely saw the battle, but it it ended like that because the Boltons were ready for it, and they had a strategy. And they both had a plan, and they were both prepared. Just one of them ended up triumphant, and that's completely fine. It made for a great episode, by the way, and that's the same here with the battle, with the ultimate battle for Winterfell, the battle, the long night. They had a plan. They were prepared for the Army of the Dead. They knew they were coming. Tormont told them, "Yo, we have until sunrise tomorrow." So they prepared for it. They made a plan. Sure, the plan didn't go as planned, but the outcome they were going for ended up happening anyway because they all had the will to make it work, because they all have something worth living for, and they all have something. They all have something worth living and fighting for, and that's why they ended up triumphant. That's why it worked. That's why it took place over the course of one episode. That's why it went down the way it did. That's why the stakes weren't so high. They were certain it will be the fight of their lives, and that they weren't going to make it, but they did whatever was in their power to fight through the darkness and death they were facing. Fight through the darkness and the death that they were facing. So, in conclusion to this very long segment, the goal wasn't to be logical. It wasn't necessary to make sense. The goal was to tell a story, and the reason for everything happening the way it did and not differently is because that's the story the creators, Dan and Dave, wanted to tell. They had purposes they wanted to serve. They had the way they wrote it, it ended up serving every purpose they wanted to serve. And there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with the agenda they had for that episode, for that story. You can't say the same about the recent Star Wars movies, because their agenda is not not in any way consistent whatsoever with the Star Wars franchise, but here it is somewhat consistent for the grand majority of it. It is the things that don't make sense. They serve a purpose that is consistent with and its and the show and its canon. And you have to remember, people, a lot of people don't separate the show from the books and don't understand that the show is one entity and the books are another entity. Just because they base their work on the books doesn't mean they have to stick to it 100%, especially given the opportunity to create their own ending, since the events of the show have gone beyond the events of the unfinished series of the books they're based on. The creators know which moments they want to make most sense out of, and they know and they know when they want to make pure spectacle. And the combination of logic and spectacle is what makes this show so good. The only reason people got disappointed in the way the battle happened, or the way the Night King's character was treated, is because it didn't live up to their expectations and theories. And that's their problem. That's their problem. That's how they ruin the show for themselves. But it doesn't mean that the show is failing. And so that is it for this segment of the live stream. I'm glad I got to talk about this, because I've spent a lot of time analyzing this episode, and the way it was written, and the way I think the intentions behind the way it was written. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I don't know if I'm 100% right on everything that I've mentioned, but I mean, I definitely see why the choices, why those. I mean, I enjoyed the episode, and um, I think everything that was written and everything was written well, everything was executed well, and not everything has to make sense, especially not in the battle scene. Um, because yo, if they were to work with if they were to do it based on pure logic, then there would be no battle. That's basically it. There would be no battle. Um, if the Dothraki never charged at the army of the dead, the army of the dead would have probably never attacked, because I mean, sure, it would have attacked eventually, because they needed because if it hadn't attacked, the army surrounding Winterfell wouldn't have been distracted, um, and so the Night King would have thousands of people basically taking turns at basically, so he would be surrounded by thousands of people, and he would just lose, and that would lose like that. I mean, there would be no. I mean, he could burn them all. See, yeah. Here's a lot. That's the logic here. The army of the dead is not very, like, The Night King could have won this battle single-handedly. But where's the fun in that? He could have burned Winterfell, and that's it. He can fly his dragon all over Westeros and kill everyone with his dragon. But where's the fun in that? There's no story. That's the way you end the series. That's it. No, there's nothing interesting about that. So yeah, so there's some moments that strategically and logically don't make sense, but yeah, I mean that's the sacrifice you have to make in order to tell a story. Sometimes not every part has to make sense when at least when it comes to a show, when it comes to cinema. So yeah, that's the end of this segment. Let's read the comments. I'll stick around for a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Right. Trooper Geo says, honestly, Lord of the Rings is the best fantasy universe in existence. I mean, I don't know if I 100% agree with that. Because it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love the Lord of the Rings, but some of the characters are a bit shallow if you think about it. Legolas. Legolas is kind of shallow in the Lord of the Rings. Sauron. Sauron is what is he does. We barely see we basically never see a physical body for Sauron in Lord of the Rings. We see him in the prologue, but then for the entirety of the trilogy, the rest of the trilogy, he's just an eye, a big eye on a tower, and he doesn't say anything, and he doesn't do anything. He's just like a mental thing. I mean, sure, it's cool and all. It's a very original. It's a very original concept for a villain, and like, but see, he's not like the Night King. You can't say that Sauron is a personification of death, because Sauron is, unlike the Night King, he is a character, and he thirsts he thirsts for power, but we don't know why he thirsts for power. His intention is never really revealed. We just know that he wants to rule the world and corrupt everybody, but it's very different from. I wouldn't say Sauron is like uh I'd hate to say he's a one-dimensional villain, but at the same time it kind of is what it is. Because his army is made of orcs, right? And orcs are living creatures, whether you like it or not. So you can't call it the army of the dead, even though they bring death. I mean, every army brings death, but it's not made out of dead people, out of dead creatures, or out of resurrected uh, creatures. Sure, I mean he is called the necromancer. Back in the Hobbit, he used to be the necromancer, but like and yeah, he brought his followers from back from the dead, but I don't know. It's very different because you see, he does speak. So, but he doesn't negotiate. Yeah, I guess he is sort of a force of nature, but at the same time, that force of nature, that for, you know, he made a ring of power, dude. He made a ring of power for the sole purpose of corrupting humanity and corrupting the and corrupting life on Middle Earth. But there's a difference between corrupting and simply erasing life. So by that logic, it kind of makes Sauron a one-dimensional villain, as much as I hate to say it, but I still like him. I still like him as a villain because even as a even as a force of nature, he's cool. You know, people fear him, and it doesn't have to. Yeah, again, it doesn't have to really be developed more than that. That's really what's beautiful about it, is that there's this entity, there's this there's this Sauron dude, and everybody he's like evil. He's basically that. So here it is. Yeah, he's basically the incarnation of evil and the personification of evil in Middle Earth, and um, people fear him, and you know, they fear him basically just for that. It's pretty beautiful when you think about it, that there's just this, yeah, that it's as simple as that. It's beautiful when you think how when you think about it, how, you know, that it's as simple as that. There's no need to develop more, because where's the beauty in there's the beauty in that there's people can make theories all over the world, all over the place, and but at the end of the day, Sauron remains the force of the source of evil, and and that's the goal of the hero's goal, is to destroy evil, stop evil, put an end to evil. And that's the story that I don't know if that's the story that J.R.R. Tolkien wanted to tell, but it's definitely the story that Peter Jackson has told over the course of over the course of his 6 movies. He didn't really give character development to Sauron. He was just evil. Whereas the Night King in Game of Thrones, he looks evil, but the reason he doesn't speak at all on the show is because is kind of a metaphor for how you can't negotiate with death, and his army is made out of dead people basically zombies if you want, and it works as a hive mind. So like that's kind of the afterlife, and like he is the devil. He is the devil controlling the dead. That's his way of taking care of the dead, and the purpose that his army that he serves is basically kill everyone and bring death, because everybody dies. Death comes to everyone, and it doesn't necessarily have a reason. There's no specific, it doesn't have intention, it doesn't have reason. It just happens. Eventually it comes to everybody. Whereas corruption has an agenda. You can't say that a certain person is corrupt just for the sake of being corrupt. There's always a motive behind corruption. Then again, that's the whole beauty of Sauron, is that he's just evil. And yeah, some characters are just like that, and that's the whole beauty of it, at least in my opinion. Um, but yeah, who else is kind of shallow? Well, yeah, there's some. I'd say there's some shallow characters in the Lord of the Rings universe, but that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. Gandalf is this wise old man. He's always been that, as far as we're concerned. He's always been a wizard. He doesn't have an origin story. We never know, like he's just a wise old wizard. And I mean, we know the reason. We know the reason he does what he does, because he's one of the protectors of Middle Earth. But then again, why does the Middle Earth need protection? Why is the evil of Middle Earth evil? That's But then again, maybe maybe the fact that it's just that simple is the whole beauty of it. I certainly don't have a problem with that, but it's just to say that nothing, no cinematic universe is perfect. No fiction is perfect. The only thing that makes a story perfect is that it's built with it's built with a mixture of logic and illogic choices. Logical and illogical choices. That some parts make sense, and the parts that matter, the parts that make sense, and those are the parts that matter, and those that don't make sense are just beautiful because they don't have to make sense. Trooper Geo says Warhammer 40k is the best sci-fi universe. Also debatable, but then again, I've never seen Warhammer. I don't really know Warhammer 40k, but I've seen a lot of sci-fi. Nah, that maybe it's a bit exaggerated. I haven't seen a lot of sci-fi, but I've seen my fair share of sci-fi universes. I don't know which one's the best though. And yeah, those two statements are purely subjective to Geo. This is still on, right? Yeah, this is still on. Potato Boy 1840 says, "Oak, do you have Discord?" I do have Discord, but people never seem to join my server, or never really have been able to join my server. But you know what? I I I don't know how I don't really know how Discord works, but if you look for me on Discord, if you look for Oak99 on Discord, I think you'll probably be able to find me. So let me just go on there real quick. If you want, you can send me your Discord username, and I'll add you to my server. So Discord. So yeah, I've created a Discord server to also be able to interact with the fans if they ever want to, and so it's great that you've asked that. So people, if people want to join and have a conversation, you're more than welcome to. Open Discord. See, I don't have the app, but I'm using the website. Spoilers ahead. Discord, blah blah blah. Okay. So my server, my Discord server is called Oak99 Community. Let's see that plus thing. That's probably to add a document. I don't want that, but then anyway, I'll wait for that to stop. Yeah, no, I don't want to add a document to the chat. Discord, yeah, work with me here. Okay. Invite your friends to this server by clicking on a share button. Share. Copy. Okay, I'm right here. I'm dropping a link to the Discord server. Hopefully, you'll be able to join. Mika do the English says, "Man's back. Could you give my main YouTube channel a subscribing to?" Sure, dude. You've been supportive of the channel. I'll subscribe to you. I'll give you a sub. There you go. I'm your 7th subscriber. Yippee. Okay. Next comment. Dunrav says, Lord of the Rings universe, 10 out of 10. Characters, 5 out of 10. The idea of Sauron is really cool, but executed terribly. Not terribly, but it could be better. I'll give you that. Also, how dumb does he have to be to have his ring be lost for hundreds of years? Try thousands. To fucking hobbit in a cave. But Lord of the Rings is just a story more about the world than the characters. Yeah. Definitely. It's just a story. The dude who wrote it was trying to tell a story, and maybe like when you first I don't know about I don't know much about storytelling, but when you think about the thought process of telling a story, I don't know if you directly think about character development. First you want to first you like you create a character, you create a story around that character, and yeah, you just write you you just write your story. You just, and you know, the first of all, you I think, okay, so there's a story that you want to tell. So you 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 basically write characters that fit in the story that you want to tell. At least that's how I currently see it. For like in this context, at least. Um, and then you kind of add development to that story with, well, you develop your characters um, within the story that you've already created. You give them a background, you give the universe in which it takes place, you give that a background, and you basically build around the story that you want to tell. I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but that's right. At least right now, that's how I understand the thought process of telling a story, of writing a story. The Nawab says Frodo is pretty shallow, to be honest. I preferred Sam. I guess, yeah, I guess he was kind of shallow, to be honest. There wasn't much to Frodo, was there? Oh well. The Nawab says, "Oof, could you imagine if the camera was off?" What? Okay, the stream is working, right? It is working. Yeah. I mean, is it? Isn't it? Is it? It's working. Tell me it's working, please. Geo says, "I'll join your server." Okay, great. So the link to my server is right here in the chat. Let's see if you guys joined. 2 new messages since. Okay, let's see the messages. I don't want to mark them as read. I want to read them. Where are you? I want to read the freaking messages. How do I read? How does this work? Okay. Do I click like on general? No. Hook 99 community. Oh, all right. I just needed to scroll down. Okay. New messages. Big Trooper Geo showed up today at 11:44 p.m. my time zone, at least. And Geo says, "Yo, man, the first message in my Discord server. How exciting!" Okay. I'll join your server. I can be a mod on it. We'll see later on. Oh, I have another Discord message. What's good in the hood? Well, you know what. Um, the Raf says, wait, getting my Discord name. Be right back. Okay. All right. That's okay. So then, Raf, are if you see the link, you know what? I'll add you myself. I mean, I'll try to add you myself. Member list. Like, how do I add people? Just just sharing the button. We've been expecting you. Oh, okay. So you joined. Okay, you've already joined. That's great. Awesome. So yeah, to everyone joining my Discord server, welcome. I hope I can entertain you on there. Like, yeah, just feel free to just start a discussion on there wherever you want. If you have any questions you want to ask me, if you ever want to interact with me off air, offline, like off air from YouTube, that's the place basically. Like, you can interact with me on Discord, on Instagram, on Twitter. Yeah, that's basically that's a great place. Also Discord, because it's a big chat that people can join in and start discussion on it, and it's like it's really, it's a community, it's a collective. I really like the concept of it. Then Raf says, merci bien, monsieur. See, that was correct French. Then Raf also says, I don't know much about storytelling. Are you sure about that? Yeah, well, I mean, it's too soon to know if I'm right about my notion of storytelling, really. About how I see it, if the way I see it, if it's correct. So that's why I don't pretend to know for sure what I'm talking about. I'm just giving what, like, I'm just expressing things the way I see them from my point of view. Doesn't mean I'm right per se. Gio says Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings as an allegory for World War One. Yeah, I know that. So yeah, so Sauron was basically the Nazis. It was basically Hitler. Then you can say Hitler was shallow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hitler was shallow as far as history was taught to us. That's cool. I mean, at least as far as history was taught to me at school. I mean, it didn't really develop on character. They didn't really go far on character developments. It just told us a story, basically. um, then Rob says, so I guess Sauron equals Hitler? Fuck, no. I'm a dumbass. Ignore that. Stream's working, lol. Okay. So the stream is working. That's great. Then Rob says, I joined. That's great. Geo says, you should do a video promoting your server. Should I, though? I mean, I posted it. I posted about it on on my community tab, and I'm promoting it right now. Basically, I just don't want to make a specific video about it because it's not that important to me. I mean, I love interacting with the with you guys, but once I make a video, out of it, it becomes a project, and I don't want. And like I don't have. First of all, I don't have much space on my computer, so just make and edit a video just for that is taking space. And I just, yeah, I prefer the second. For me, it's really secondary. So that's why I don't make a video about it, because I want to primarily focus on my work on The Last Laugh. And you know, every once in a while, sure, I try to keep the channel active with Lego blind bag unboxings, or um, when I did that Anakin Starfighter review, it was to keep it was to be the primary focus of my channel is Lego. And you know, when you work with Lego, there's different ways to work with Lego, and so I kind of wanted to try, you know, so different aspects of it to keep the channel active. But so yeah, so in that context, it fit in the primary, like, yeah, priority. It fit in the priority, basically, in the priorities of that. But yeah, I see that those videos are not working at all, so that's why I didn't make any more. But I I really want to collect the new Lego Harry Potter. Not Harry Potter. I really want to collect the series 2 of the Disney minifigures. So we'll see if we'll cross that bridge when we get there, basically. Um, Gio says, I don't speak French. I speak English, Irish, and German. That's cool, man. I speak French, English, and Hebrew. Then Ralph says, Alan, there's nothing wrong. There's no wrong way to see something. Debatable. Gio says, oh, in Italian. Awesome. Then Ralph says, Alan, we both dumb. Yeah, we're all dumb, man. I mean, everyone and anyone and everyone will find a way to see your faults and call you dumb for them. To not see eye to eye with you. You won't see eye to eye with anyone either. Maybe it's not purposefully, or maybe it is, but you know, you always encounter people that you don't see eye to eye with, and they will call you dumb for it, and you will call them dumb for it, or you just agree to disagree, and accept your differences. Gio says Hitler was World War II, mate. Oh, right, yeah. So who was World War One's Hitler? Yeah. See, I'm dumb. Who was World War One's Hitler? It was that Italian dude, that fascist dude, Mussolini. Was that his name? No. Or was that my history teacher? No, I don't think my history teacher was called Mussolini. Yeah, no, okay, so World War One's Hitler was Mussolini. Oh no, wait, no. Apparently, according to Geo, it was Kaiser Wilhelm. Let's do a quick research on Kaiser Wilhelm. Was the Wilhelm scream named after Kaiser Wilhelm? I wonder. You know the Wilhelm scream, when that famous scream in movies that sounds really off and unrealistic and not realistic at all. Wilhelm II was the last German emperor and king of Prussia, reigning from June 15th, 1888, until his abdication on November 9th, 1918, shortly before Germany's defeat in World War I. Okay, see, I'm learning stuff here. That's great. Love that. And if you don't know Mussolini, I'm surprised, uh, Gio, if you don't know him, because love you're full of passion about world wars. Um, I'll, I'll I'll read his description to you. Um, Benito Amilcare Amilcare, maybe, and Andrea Mussolini was Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Italy from his GOP in 1922 to 1943, and Duce of Fascism from 1919. Okay, so no, he also was in World War II. My bad. To his execution in 1945 during the Italian Civil War. As dictator of Italy and founder of fascism, Mussolini inspired several totalitarian rulers such as Adolf Hitler. There you go. We all get history lessons. That's so much fun, man. I sort of miss history lessons. I mean, in a way I do, but on the on the other hand, like when you're in Europe, they give you one version of history, and that's a version of history from the point of view of Europe, um, not from a historical point of view, really. If that makes any sense, like how there's right and the left, kind how there's two. What's the word I'm going for? But yeah, I don't want to get to politics. I don't want to talk about politics, so I'm not even gonna get to it. But basically, but yeah, history lessons are, yeah, they're kind of fun, especially when I'm interacting with you guys, like learning while interacting with you guys from our interaction. So yeah, I don't want to get it. I really don't want to get to politics, but I'm glad that we at least like got to read about one or two um, one or two persons that kind of shaped history, that had a role in shaping history, at least. um, Gio says Mussolini was also World War II Lambo. Yeah, as I discovered for myself right now. Thank you. And Danrav says Mussolini sounds like an Italian food. Yeah, it does, kind of. But well, it is an Italian name, so there you go. Dunrav says, I thought it came from someone in a movie dying in a lake. Oh, the Wilhelm scream. Yeah, I really don't know the origins of the Wilhelm scream. I should probably research that later. I I don't feel like I'm kind of lazy, feeling lazy right now to do research on that. Then Ralph says, to be honest, the Scream ruins movies to me. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal, really. It's a nice little running gag if you think about it. Then Ralph says, during the Battle of Helm's Deep, an Urukai gets killed, and you hear the scream. Ruin that entire screen. That entire scene. No, it's not. It doesn't ruin the scene necessarily. It's a funny little detail. It's not consistent, but with the way that the characters are made, the way they behave, the way they sound, but I don't think it ruins the scene necessarily, because it's just one tiny detail. There's a lot worse than that. Trust me. Have you watched Star Wars 8? There you go, dude. um, Gio says, my great-great-grandfather was one of the men who executed Mussolini. Wow, kudos. Um, what was I? Okay. Then Rav says, history lessons with Alon. Should be a podcast. No, it shouldn't be podcast. I'm terrible at history lessons, dude. I'm terrible at it. This year is my first year back to school in 2 years, and even the year before that, I haven't taken school seriously. So I'm definitely not good at. You shouldn't trust me with history lessons. Nuh-uh. You can trust me with movie analysis. You can trust me with movie analysis, but history lessons? Not my thing, dude. I don't think that's my thing. But yeah, that little segment was kind of fun, and it was perfectly balanced. It didn't go too far, didn't go too close. I mean, if that makes any sense, it didn't. Well, it was short and sweet. Should not have lasted any longer. I don't know. I can only imagine the horror of it lasting any longer. Um. Mm. But yeah, no, dude. There's probably plenty of history channels on YouTube. There is a history channel on TV. Sure, you may not enjoy it as much as you enjoy my podcasts, but I'd like there's a channel for everything on YouTube. And my channel is not a history channel. Gio says, I love history. I got 93% on my last test. That's great. Awesome. Then Ralph says, I got 96.5 on my history tests combined. Nice. That's nice. You must have must have worked really hard for that. James Vlogs, he had deleted his comment, but I can see it. Um, so yeah, he suggests that we should talk Endgame spoilers. You know what? I kind of want to save Endgame for another stream. I want to make a stream for a separate stream for Endgame. I've seen Endgame. There's a lot I want to talk about when it comes to Endgame, but this stream has gone for too long, so I think we should save that for a different stream. Um, but yeah, he says let's talk spoilers. Iron Man. Okay, no, I'm not. Is it too soon to talk spoilers about Endgame? Let's leave it for the next stream. You know, it's let's give it another week. That comment is so funny. Dunraf says, dude, an Orkai screaming like a 45-year-old human male sounds legit, I guess. Especially when when you consider the fact that it's ultimately it's just a sound effect, really. I mean, someone had to give that voice, but you just gave that voice that one time, I think, and people have saved that document and have used it on basically every film in history ever since. I don't know. Gio says The Last Jedi sucks balls. Yes, it does. Alan will make it a podcast, but I'll be on it and I'll be the one giving out the lessons. So do it on your channel, dude. What do you need my channel for? Don't worry, it shall be the utmost fun. If you want if you want to talk about history, you can do it on your own channel. If you want to make a history podcast, you can do it on your own channel. But if you want me to talk about history, dude, you can send me a script and I'll read it. And if first of all, you make sure that it's accurate, that it's historically accurate, and then I'll just read it to you. That's the whole point of being an actor. Give me shit that I don't know about, and I'll just read it out loud. I mean, mainly to get paid, but I mean, I'd do it for free if it's just because I basically get paid with knowledge here, so it's a win-win situation. I get to learn. You guys get to be entertained because you kind of want history lessons, like history lesson live streams on my channel. You see, it's a win-win. But yeah, that's not what my channel is about. Um, Dunraf says, wait, do we have time for the classic part of the streams? Which part is that? I don't remember. There's a lot of parts. There's a lot of classic parts. Laughing my ass off with my history test. I didn't know a name. Wait, okay. Is the classic part of the stream that you mean is the part where you tell us about your life? Yeah, that you tell me about your life. I read it out loud and try to comfort you during the live stream. Is that the classic part of the streams you mean? I'm not laughing at you, but just I've just been hit with this wave of nostalgia, basically. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having fun tonight. Gotta say. This stream has been very comforting, if I'm to be honest. Then Rob says, Lamo, with my history test, I didn't know a name, so I wrote James Charles. And she didn't realize it or something, so I got 10 out of 10. That's awesome. Gio says, rest in peace, Luke Skywalker. Yeah. Didn't that suck? And Ralph says, make the next stream an endgame stream. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'll even see if I can bring a guest to that stream. Then Ralph says, part 1 of history with Alan. During the Battle of Dunkirk in 1793, Britain fought Wakanda because Wakanda spoiled the Shrek dies in Endgame. Oof, no, I was talking about the reading Trump tweets. Oh, the reading Trump tweets. Well, first of all, that little fake history bit, I love that. You should definitely send me more of those. And if you want, I'll even read them with the. Oh, dude, there's the Joker mask. There's a joke. Remember the Joker mask bit? Oh, dude, you know what? Let's read some Donald Trump tweets, and if you guys have some more dumb shit you want me to read if you have nonsense that you would like me to read with the Joker mask, I'll do it, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's go to Twitter. Go to Twitter. What time is it? Midnight 18. Let's go to Donald Trump. Then Ralph says I'll send some dumb shit on Discord, I think. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to read some random tweets from Donald J. Trump's Twitter page with no context whatsoever. I don't care what it says. I'll just read it because I love imitating Donald Trump. To me, is a caricature, and I don't have anything against. I'm not with or against. I have no political opinion. This is purely out of, theatrical purpose. So there it is. Military spouses share an admirable legacy of unwavering devotion to their loved ones in uniform and to the cause of freedom. Hold on a minute. On Military Spouse Day, we honor our nation's military spouses and express our deep appreciation for all that they do. It's great. Okay, let's read 2 more tweets. Okay, this is part of thread, so I'm not going to read that. Okay. Great Republican vote today on disaster relief bill. Hold on. Where was I? All right, yeah. We will now work out a bipartisan solution that gets relief for our great states and framers. Thank you to all. Get me a bill that I can quickly sign. Just like that. Yeah. Okay. One more tweet. This one's a short one. Looks to me like it's going to be a sleepy, creepy Joe over crazy Barney. I'm gonna read this again. Looks to me like it's gonna be sleepy, creepy Joe over crazy Barney. Everyone else is fading fast. And that's it for the Donald Trump segment of the stream. Dude, this is so much fun. Kind of forgot how much fun those streams used to be. Then again, the last one I did had practically no views in it, so I mean it had in the beginning, but then when I wanted to continue, they all went away. So yeah, it didn't feel worth it. But yeah, no, this stream is a lot of fun. This reboot that I'm doing, kind of, it's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's read some more comments. What's up? Okay, this is probably, I don't know if it's true history or fake history, but I'm gonna read it anyway. If you want me to read with the Joker mask, okay, I'll read this one with the Joker mask. But from now on, if you want me to read with the Joker mask, you should tell me up front that you want me to read it with the Joker mask. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's been a while. Sorry about that. All right. In 0004 BC, Shrek launched a crusade against Taco Bell, forbidding barbecue sauce all over his spilled milk. This then resulted in a 5-year siege of Taco Land, which resulted in the deaths of 30,000 onions, dude. Nurav says, Jesus Christ, 1,000 out of 10. Thank you. Swiss water. It's as refreshing as it sounds, ladies and gentlemen. It is, dude. If you this is really refreshing. I love Swiss water. Love it. Nurav says it's the thirstiest time of the year. I don't know how to sing this. That's the first way that came to mind to sing for me to sing this. But yeah, it sure sounds like a song. But that being said, guys, this was very fun. Gio says Swiss chocolate though. Oh, dude, Swiss chocolate. Don't even get me started on Swiss chocolate. It's so good. But that being said, thank you guys a lot for watching, for tuning in. I've had a lot of fun tonight. I hope you also had as much fun as I did. If you didn't have as much fun but still had some fun, that's what counts. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I really appreciate your support. So I'll see. Maybe you know what? I'll see what I can do about next week. or maybe even maybe even this no, this Sunday is impossible, but next week I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna try and be back with another live stream to talk about Endgame. I'll try to have a guest on. So so until then, until the next stream comes around, uh, thank you again. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. But seeing the chat, there was no one new at the chat, so they're already subscribed. But thank you a lot. Again, I can't thank you enough. I've been thanking you guys for five times now, 5,000 times now. If you want to keep track of what I'm up to and interact with me more, be sure to subscribe and comment on my posts on the community tab on YouTube. And there's also I also have a Twitter page. I also have an Instagram, and now you can join my Discord. You know what? I'll even link the Discord server in the description, and hopefully it works. And yeah, I'm probably gonna unlist this. I'll leave the stream on for another day or two, and I'll leave the stream public for like a day or two, and then I'll probably unlist it. But thanks a lot for watching. I'm repeating myself. You know what to do. You know where to click. You know where to follow me. You know where to find me if you want to interact with me. And you guys are awesome. Peace out.